Hello there, eighth graders. Welcome back. Week 7. Can't believe we've gotten this far, but we're rocking and rolling. We're doing good work here. I'm really proud of you guys. I hope that everything went well over the weekend. I hope that you guys are having a good day. Grab a piece of paper, a pencil, um, grab a drink of water, and we'll just get right into it today. Today's lesson is all about circumference of circles. So we're going to finish off this year. We're going to learn about circumference of circles this week, and then next week we are going to learn about area of circles. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. Thomas is practicing throwing an old discus ring he found in his attic. After an exhausting afternoon, Thomas sits with the discus ring and starts to examine it. He uses a ruler to measure the radius, which is 11 centimeters. He also finds a way to measure the diameter of the circle. He marked out to throw the discus. It is 2.5 meters across. Now that he has this information about both circles, how can Thomas figure out the circumference of each? So he wants to figure out the circumference of his discus. So he wants to find out the discus that he's holding right there, and then the one that he throws it into. If you guys if you guys participate in track and field, you might be throwing discus. In this concept, we're going to learn how to find the diameter, radius, and circumference of circles. So you guys are going to have a couple of different vocabulary terms. Circles are geometric figures. We know that. Circles are shapes. A circle is the set of points that are equidistant from the center point. So if we have a circle, right? Actually, that's not a perfect circle. Perfect circle is really hard to draw. But if we have a circle, let's pretend that this is a perfect circle. It's perfectly round. It's the set of points that are equidistant from a center point. That means that it is equal distance away from this center point, right? So any point on the circle, any point on the circle should be an equal distance away from our center point right here. So that should be your first note on what a circle is. Circle is a set of points that are equidistant from a center point. The radius, my friends, of a circle is the distance from the center to any point on the circle. So if we have a circle right here, this is the center of it. The radius is right here. The radius. There's no O in radius. The radius. The diameter is the distance across the circle through the center of the circle. So the diameter, my friends, goes all the way across. So you should have those notes written down. The diameter is always twice as long as the radius. It is always twice as long as the radius because the radius is from the perfect center to the edge of the circle. So we are also going to be using a very special number when it comes to calculating with circles. Pi is a decimal that goes on forever. It's a non-terminating decimal. We know that it starts with 3.14159.265, and it can go on and go on and go on and go on and go on. But we are going to focus on 1 part of 5. We're going to round it to the nearest hundredths. So 3.14. Okay? That's what we're using for our calculations. Pi is the ratio of circumference or the distance around the circle to the diameter. Circles are special in geometry because of the ratio of the circumference and the diameter is always the same. In other words, these two measurements are related. If you change the diameter, the circumference changes proportionally. For example, if you double the length of the diameter, the circumference doubles as well. So the diameter right here, right? It's our purple, also is related to our circumference, to how the distance around the circle. So let's look at the distances below. Find the ratio of the circumference and the diameter for both circles. What do you notice? So what's the ratio? For our large circle, for our diameter is 4, or is 4, and our circumference is 12.56. If we divide 12.56 divided by 4, we would get 3.14, which is pi, right? You see how that works right here? Now let's look at our small circle. Our diameter is 2, and our circumference is 6.28. So you see that right there? Our diameter is 2, and our circumference is 6.28. If we were to divide 6.28 by 2, our circumference by our diameter, we would get 3.14. We would get pi. So these are all related to each other. It's our secret ingredient that every circle needs is pi. Notice when you divide the circumference by a circle by its diameter, no matter how big or small the circle is, you will always get the same number. When we divide the circumference by the diameter, no matter how big or how small the number is, we will always get the same number. So circumference divided by the diameter will always equal pi, or this symbol right here. This symbol right here is pi, okay? So let's remember that. So the circumference of a circle you have been using uses this formula. C equals pi times diameter. So our circumference is pi times the diameter. Since the diameter is twice of the radius, we can also use this formula. C equals 2 times pi and our radius. So we need to figure out what the circumference of a circle is if the diameter is 6 inches. So we know we're using a diameter, right? Or it's 3 inches. So we know that we do not have to multiply it by 2. So what is 3 times pi? Use a calculator for this, guys. Okay, so pause the video, use a calculator. 3 times 3.14 would get us what? If you said it would get us 9.42, you are absolutely correct. So guys, I want you to go ahead and pause the video here. This is the end of our Monday lesson, but make sure that you have our vocabulary terms that I listed earlier. Make sure that you have circle, radius, and diameter written down, as well as our 2 formulas. Circumference equals pi times diameter, and circumference equals 2 times pi times radius. Okay, so make sure that you have that done, and pause the video here, and we'll see you tomorrow. All right, welcome back, everybody. So we are going to go through some examples here. Earlier, we were given a problem about Thomas and his discus. The discus had a radius of 11 centimeters. The throwing area has a diameter of 2.5 meters. So if it has a radius, which formula are we using? We need to use our radius formula, right? So C equals 2 times pi times r. We know that. So use your calculator. 2 times 3.14 times 11. What do we get? We would get 69 and 12 hundredths. So the circumference of the discus is 69 and 12 hundredths. Then we also need to figure out the diameter or the circumference of the circle that he's throwing the discus into. Now we know the diameter, and the diameter formula is right here, right? Circumference equals pi times diameter. So what is 3.14 times 2.5? We would get 7.85. The answer is 7.85. So example 2, let's figure this out. Circumference equals 2 times pi times r. We know that. What is the circumference of a circle with a radius of 2.5 feet? Right? So we know the radius. So 2 times pi times r. So it is 2 times pi times 2.5. Pause your calculator, or pause the video, use your calculator, and figure that out. 2 times 3.14 times 2.5. It is 15.71. All right, example 3, we get the diameter, not the radius. So we know the diameter. We don't need to multiply it by 2. We just need to multiply our diameter of 6 inches times pi. So it is 6 times 3.14. It is 18.85. Number 5, we have a circle with a radius of 4.5 feet. So it's a radius, not a diameter. So we have to multiply it by 2. 2 times pi, 2 times 3.14, times 4.5. Pause the video and solve it on your own. Hopefully when you get back, you see that the answer is 28.27. And example 5, we have another diameter. We don't need to multiply that by 2. We just need to multiply our diameter of 3.5 meters times pi. So it's 3.14 times 3.5. It is 11 exactly. So guys, I included a Khan Academy video. I'm also going to include a calculator to help figure out the circumference of circles. Let's go to that circumference calculator now. So circumference calculator. So guys, with these calculators, they do not always calculate using pi as in 3.14. Sometimes they round, so you have to be a little careful, okay? So if we're looking for circumference here, we would put in what our diameter is. So if we know that it is 5 inches, we would find the circumference, or 55 inches. We could also find the area. Use these types of calculators. They are your friends, especially when you're doing your math problem. There's nothing wrong with using a calculator, okay? Because you are going to use a calculator anyway. Just makes sense to use one that is specific for circumference calculators. Sometimes you need to just look at whatever is closer, especially if these calculators use 3.14 and then it goes on and on and on, compared to our one that we round with our formula. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions. I've also included a Khan Academy video that will give you a little extra help if you need so. But I'm always available from Google Hangouts, and I just want to let you guys know that I appreciate you. Have a great day.